Hey everybody, I know it's been a long time since I've put out a video, and mainly family, work, um, all that other stuff has taken up a lot of my time, but I wanted to make another one because I found a new, I guess, product recently that I've implemented in my home security system for antivirus, malware protection. And basically, what it is, it's a UTM. UTM stands for Unified Threat Management, and that is basically, think of it as a software slash hardware that sits between your home network and the internet. And anything that's on your home network is protected. That includes iPhones, wireless thermostats, because that's the big thing right now, right? Is the Internet of Things. That's one of the things that the company I work for is big on, is the what they call the Internet of Things. So that means like, smart light bulbs, smart refrigerators, smart thermostats, all that smart stuff, which is great and convenient. Um, you can't go and put an antivirus on a thermostat or a light bulb, but there is still vulnerabilities that lets them being able to be hacked. So I was thinking recently, what can I do to secure those devices? And then I thought about it from the enterprise point of view. And they use multiple devices, but one of the things that maybe not enterprises, but as much as small businesses use is called a UTM, which is a Unified Threat Management System, which is basically one device slash software that has firewall, intrusion prevention, web filtering, antivirus, all this other stuff is built into one device. And that, it also means that you can have, endpoint protection on your individual devices that need it, but this is a an overall layer. So let me just show you. So the one I got, there's a good number of different ones out there, but the one that I decided to use is from Sophos, and it's their UTM Home Edition, which is basically free, provided to home users, which is an awesome thing. And it offers a lot of things. It doesn't really, there's a whole manual on this if you want to look into it. You can search, I think it's called Sophos UTM Administrator Manual. It's about 700 pages. Um, Let me just say that it is not an easy thing to set up. You need to know networking, and even then, I had to hunt around because certain things were not working. So the way this works is if you, from when you install it, it basically blocks everything. So the way I have my home network set up is I have this device that has Sophos UTM on it between my modem and what used to be my router. Now the router is basically just a wireless access, and this does all the routing and everything. So, the router is just a switch plus wireless access, and now the network is run by the Sophos UTM device. So the first thing you have to do is you need hardware. Now, if you have a laptop or something that's been sitting around, you might be able to use that. I didn't, and I also didn't like the idea of it, so I wanted to get a dedicated device. And if you look out in the world, you can buy these Sophos UTM devices. They do offer them, but they're, $400, $500, $600. I think the cheapest one that I found that wasn't Sophos, it was some other company, but it was about 400 and some dollars. And I said, no way am I going to spend that much money. So I hunted, I went, looked around, and the most important thing that you need for this is two Ethernet ports on the device. And there's certain specs that it recommends, which is, minimum dual core, minimum 2 gigs of RAM. Um, I recommend more because more doesn't hurt. So what I ended up getting is this by Zotac, is a ZBox CI325 Nano. Um, Basically, it's a small, passively cooled Mini PC, I guess if you want to call it that. So you can see it's got a Intel N3 160 quad core. It's got availability of it's got two availability of two slots for 1600 RAM. I only used one. I got a it doesn't come with memory, it doesn't come with RAM, and it also doesn't come with a hard drive. I bought this locally at a micro center. I think with the RAM, and I already had a hard drive at home. I just used a 7200 RPM hard drive I took out of my friend's computer because he wanted a solid state drive. I just used that, and I bought, so with the memory stick and the device, I think I was out the door about 160 bucks. So the important part with this device is that it does have the two ports on it. It also has a bunch of other things built into it. As you can see, it's got Wi-Fi, it's got a SD card reader. I don't use any of that things. It's got, USB on the front, 3.0 and USB-C. So later, if you want to repurpose this for another type of device, you definitely can. It comes with a US power cord. It's got a port on the back here. Let me just show you the back. So it's got a port on the back for the Wi-Fi antenna, more USB, HDMI, DP port, DC, and all that jazz. But I just have the two Ethernet plugged in and everything. So to get this to work on this device, on this specific one, you download um, the ISO. So it's going to be an ISO, and then you have to fill in all your information here to download it. You download the ISO, and then you find a program out there for you that will take the ISO and put it into a bootable USB, and you plug in the USB into the USB 3.0 port. You boot up the machine. You need a monitor that can take HDMI or an HDMI to DVI adapter, and you plug it in. You hook up a keyboard to it. You set your boot order on your device here on the Z box to boot from the USB. You boot from the USB, and then it goes through the installation process. I did run into one problem, just as a tip for everybody. The problem was that when you boot from a USB, it was not mounting a certain aspect of the Sophos. So I had to do some research online, and you have to run a command. Let me see if I can find it just to kind of lead you guys. So it'll throw up a very specific error as it's going through the install, as it's partitioning the new hard drive and everything. So I think I just searched something like UTM install error, something like that. So one of these, there will be an install error that you're going to get, and the problem is that you need to mount. Just follow the instructions, and you can get it to work. You basically have to mount a certain part of the USB, which doesn't automatically get mounted. Once you mount it and then rerun it, everything works just fine. The forums are invaluable. The Sophos UTM forums, there's lots of information on here, and I mean they're great. I don't know if I'm going to show you guys my installation or if I'm going to, I don't know if there's anything personal on there. So give me a sec, let me pull up my Sophos UTM installation. I'll check it out, see if there's anything that I need to, any IP addresses or anything like that that I should cover up, and if not, I'll just share with you guys. And give me a second, let me come back. Alright, so I think I'm just going to show you my installation. So once you get it installed on the box here on the device, the only way to access this interface is through you're gonna let me go back up a little. When you install this, you're gonna have to pick one of these ports, and I don't know offhand which one it is. It's gonna be Ethernet 0 or Ethernet 1 as the incoming port, and then the other one becomes your outgoing port. So I think I picked Ethernet 0, and on mine it was this port. Was it this port? No, it was this port right here next to the monitor output. It was this port here. So basically I connected my desktop or a laptop, whatever Ethernet cable to the device, and then you're going to have to go into your IP4, IPv4 settings, set a new IP address to whatever this device is. This device is going to it's going to give you some prompts when you're installing it to tell you, this is going to be the IP address. This is going to be how you access the admin interface. So the standard IP address for the device is 192.168.2.100. So you're going to want to go into your settings and set your computer to be able to talk to it to maybe, a static IP address of 192.168.2.1 or .2, So that way you're on the same IP network as it, and then what you'll do is you'll open up a browser like I have here, and then you'll go https colon / 192.168.2.100 colon 4444, and that's the address that you need. The first time you go to this, it's going to throw up a warning at you because of a certificate, and that's normal because you're using a self-signed certificate here. And because it's a self-signed certificate, as you can see, Chrome cannot validate it. That's fine. Don't worry about it too much. So then, the first time you access this, it's going to go through a wizard and help you set it up so at least, the internet works. It's not going to be set up very efficiently, but most of everything will work. So I already set mine up, so let me log in. So when you log in, what you're going to see is, and it takes a little bit of time, but you're going to log in, you're going to see the dashboard. So this is, so it's been up for 14 days. You have a license that you're going to get from the website that you have to input through the wizard. It guides you through all that stuff. So you can see that this is the interfaces. I have an internal, which is Ethernet 0, an external, which is Ethernet 1. Status is up, system is okay. Some of the things I have running right now are the firewall, intrusion prevention, web filtering. We'll go through some of this stuff. Network, application control rules, antivirus, and anti-spyware. I don't have other things running on here. Wireless protection, endpoint protection. You do get endpoint protection included in this. So if you want to run Sophos endpoint protection, they do give it to you. And then you can use this device to centrally manage everything. You can create site-to-site VPNs. This is a very complicated and very thorough program. So we'll just go through some of the settings now. It would take hours upon hours, and there's a lot of research that needs to be done. This isn't for the faint of heart, let's just say. So this is the dashboard home. If you click on management, you can go to, all the different things. Set licensing, I'm not going to go in there. I don't know if there's anything in there that I should show you guys, like some kind of license issue or something like that. Mobile, there's all sorts of things. If we go to system settings here, I'm going to have to blank that out. One of my emails. I'll just blank that out on the email. You can set your host name. The important thing here is you can see the two engines that it comes with under scan settings. You can see it comes with Sophos and it comes with the Avira engine. There is an option to do a dual scan engines, and I'll show you that in a minute. And so I don't mess around much with management. In network, you're gonna have to set up some, an internal network, so a DNS, a DHCP. So I had to set up a DHCP. So like I showed you, you see that 192.168.2.1 through 254, and the box, the default gateway is 100. The box is running the DNS. If you don't do that, it won't. Once you turn this, you install the box, and you're gonna take your regular router and turn it basically into an access point. If you don't set up DHCP and DNS, nothing will work. This is just something that it took me about a day of back and forth and researching online and everything like that to kind of figure out what I needed to do to get everything to work correctly. Network protection, it comes with you set up a firewall rule. You can do country blocking. If you go, what, I don't want anybody on this network to access anything from the Middle East. So you just block these countries. You can block individually, you can block up the whole Middle East, and then no computer or any device on the network will be able to go to any website that is in the Middle East. You can do exceptions of that though if you want one device to be able to go. Um, Different ping settings, global ICMP settings under advanced connection tracking helpers. So, um, you know, certain things like PPTP, FTP, all these protocols can be loaded in. Um, you have a NAT, so you have to set that up. Masquerading, you have to set up masquerading from the internal to the external network. If you don't, it won't work right. Intrusion prevention. So this is where the network protection on the firewall side, the network side comes in. So it protects my internal network. What does it do? It drops packets silently, and it drops all packets. It has a bunch of attack patterns that come in from Sophos that are loaded in. So it looks at all these different ways that your network can be attacked through Windows, Linux, um, mail server specific attacks, DNS attacks, Office, MS Office attacks, anything like that, malware. And this is what it said. What does it do? So the action, it just drops the packet. And some of these, if you can see any right here at the top, basically any rules that are older than 12 months get discarded because Sophos is continuously updating these with new rules. And if you keep them all, there might be doubles and you don't need them, and it just can cause a headache. So you have anti-DNS. I really don't, and flooding protection. I really don't use that much. I did turn on the anti-port scan, and basically I set it to drop the traffic, and I just limit the logging. I don't want to log everything. You can set up exceptions. You have a bunch of advanced rules you can set up there. Server load balancing I don't use. Voice over IP I don't worry about. You can go to advanced. Um, the most one that you're probably going to spend most time in is this web protection. So if you go to web filtering here, you set up which networks you want to use. You use internal network, and then your operation mode, always use transparent mode. And in your HTTPS, with this version, with UTM 9.2, they used to need the decrypt and scan. So what you had to have is you basically had a um, what's it called? You had a certificate, and basically the device would perform a man-in-the-middle attack on all your encrypted traffic. It would decrypt your traffic, look to see what it is. If it's good, it would re-encrypt it and then continue on its way, right? And that can cause some issues, but with this new version now they have URL filtering only, which is where I would definitely use this. I wouldn't do the decrypt and scan. It's a pain to get it to work right. So if you go to web filter profiles, under filter actions, this is your main interface. You're going to have these two after you run the wizard, and everything's going to be kind of allowed. So if you go and hit edit here, I allow everything. I don't really care about blocking a bunch of this stuff because remember, this is made for enterprise grade. The only one that I care about blocking right now, maybe if I have kids in the future, I'll block the nudity, but I care about blocking suspicious, and I'll show you where you can edit those categories. So what I set here is, allow all except the below, and anything that is uncharacterized is allow. And then I also said block spyware infection and communication. If you go to website here, you can block very specific websites, or you can allow specific websites. You can, when you first install this, there will be a bunch of extensions that it won't let you download. It'll block specific extensions. I just cleared all these lists out. This is where the antivirus comes into effect. So I set up, I said use antivirus scanning, use the dual engine. I didn't block potentially unwanted applications, PUAs, because sometimes I use some of these applications for certain things, and I don't want them to get blocked. And then you can also enforce certain other rules, like Google Safe Search, Bing Safe Search, enforce, license on image search results. There's YouTube for schools. One of the things that I did here that I wanted to show you is I turned it into log blocked pages. I didn't want to log everything. Then you hit OK, you hit save, and that's your rule. So you can see that by default it's blocking suspicious, spyware is blocked, uncategorized sites are allowed, dual and antivirus scanning, and POA detection is deactivated. So we look at the suspicious. What's suspicious? So you go to filtering options. Now this has a bunch of things at the top, and we'll start from exceptions. A lot of these already get loaded automatically. Some of them I had to load, and this isn't easy to find these. So basically what you do is you go to Google and you go Sophos UTM. I had a problem with Netflix, right? So you go Sophos UTM Netflix. And then you go, and then the first result is there from the Sophos community. How do I configure web filtering to allow Netflix? Because for some reason there's a issue and Netflix blocks certain servers, right? So they've been trying, you read through the comments and everything, and you see, what they've been using, and if somebody says, you know what, this works, so this person gave you a hint, and what you do to create this is you say, okay, add a new exception, name it whatever you want to name it, skip if you want what scans or checks do you want it to skip. This guy, or girl, whatever, I think checked pretty much everything, and then you go matching these URLs, and then you hit the little plus button here, and or I'm sorry, you can do import. That's easier. And then basically in this import window, you copy all these. You can see there's certain servers, and these are their wildcards and everything. The way that Sophos does this, there's in its manual they explain everything. Why everything is A to ZA dash Z, 0 dash 9 and everything. This is how they use the wildcards. But you copy, you paste everything in there, you import, they all show up here. You hit save, and it shows up. So as you can see here, I have Netflix, bypassing all these things and all the Netflix servers and everything. It's all set up, and now Netflix works just fine. Some of these are, like I said, they come in normally. I was having an issue with Kodi that was giving me some trouble, so I had to set that up. I was having an issue with PS3, so I was having, for some reason, the PS3 network wasn't working right, so I had to look around and figure out an exception for PS3. So if you go to websites, if you do a search on Sophos UTM blocking ads, I think the top one here is the one I used. Basically, they're showing you how to set up to block ads. So first step, second step, third step. The third step is what you see here, and there's actually more than what you think. And all these are basically categorized under web ads, and you go, okay, what's that mean? Well, if you go to categories, remember when we saw suspicious in the other folder? This is where suspicious comes from. So if you hit edit here, you can see that the suspicious category has malicious sites, phishing, spam URLs, spyware, adware, and web ads. So these websites, because they are categorized as web ads, are now part of this, wherever it went, the suspicious category, which if we go back to, it's not filtering profiles. If we go back here, it's blocked, right? So it's one within one within one. That's how this works, right? So that's part of it. You can authorize certain potentially unwanted applications to bypass. You can bypass authorized users. I'm not even going to go into that one. You can do certificate signing. You can upload a certificate. And the other thing that I use also, sorry this is long, but this is a very complicated thing. I use the application control, and I use this mostly for blocking ads as best as I can. So you turn it on, and I went to application control, and you set up a new rule. And if we edit this one, you can see that there's tons of different things in here, different actual websites basically that are being blocked. So what this says is, and I got this instruction from in here. So um, you can actually find the instructions on how to do this. This is the second part here on how to use application control. And I'm not going to explain this. I'm not going to go into it. Just find this page and read it, and it'll show you what to do. So, but what it basically says is, for any of these, I guess they call them applications, websites, whatever you want to call them, for any source networks, it's going to block them. Right? So think about what they use this application control is if there's different segments in a company. So what they're showing you here is marketing, sales, finance, right? They need access to certain websites. So you can use the device to give them access to certain websites and not access to others based on, who they are, right? This is how this application control works. I don't use it that way. I just use it to block ads. So we went through that. Let's see. Email protection I don't use because I don't have an email server. Advanced protection. I don't think in our home license we get access to Sophos Sandstorm. It's actually kind of neat. So what it is basically it's a behavior blocker in the cloud. So the system would automatically take any suspect files, check the hash, and if the cloud hasn't seen it, it will upload it to the cloud, and then it would run it basically in a sandbox in the cloud, and it would return back a yes or no result. And then, of course, the admin, which is you in this case, would get a report and everything. And then there's, advanced threat protection. Well, let's see what else. Sorry, I'm getting text messages on the side. Like I said, here's your endpoint protection. You can manage the computers, antivirus, device control. Everything is right. Web control is right here if you use endpoint protection. I don't use the wireless protection because I'm not using the device as the wireless access point. I'm using my regular router. Red management. This is way more advanced than you have to worry at all. This is basically creating, if you have central office where the UTM is and you have different branches, you can create an Ethernet tunnel that's secure from one place to the other. You can also do site-to-site VPN, remote access, logging and reporting. Here, I'll show you on the logging and reporting. If you go to logging and reporting and you go to view log files, if you set up this device and you have a website that doesn't work, where you're going to want to look for is in this web filtering filter. You can either do view, you can do live, and then that way you can control F inside the window. There'll be a new window that opens, and just search for blocked, and then that will give you a hint usually where here in web filtering, what is it, this one of these websites that's blocked that had a couple, Google Analytics, a couple of things that were blocking. Is it, is it in the categories? It's somewhere in here that something is being blocked and that you have to unblock it, basically, remove the rule. So yeah, here's another one I just showed you. I had an issue with Hulu. Hulu, for some reason, especially on my PS3, wasn't working, so I had to create an exception for the Hulu website. So yeah, this was a very, very brief introduction. I recommend if you really are interested in this, searching for Sophos UTM Admin Guide. They have it on their website for download. So I don't remember which one it is. It's 9.4, I think. Yeah, that's the newest version. Like I said, it's 700 or 600 78 pages. Everything is in here. Um, I haven't used it much. I used it a little bit, but mostly I just search Google and search the boards. That's where the things are. And just to give you an idea of how well this works, so if we go to let's go to our old standby here, malware domain list. I know these are old, but it's just to show you that it does work. So if we let's pick a link here. Now this thing's gonna get hit by, I have a Bitdefender installed on here, so let me turn that off. I don't want Bitdefender to stop anything because this is my this is my regular system here. So it's I have Bitdefender 2017 on here. We'll turn it off for 5 minutes. And then I also want to turn off Avira, browser safety. Okay, so let's see if that, there you go. So you can see that Sophos said this content is blocked. This link, blah, 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 you're trying to visit, URL is normally only visited by a threat installed on a computer, and it was found as a generic A2. Right, so if we go to another one, let's go to, wish I could find like a phishing site or something. I don't want to go to an exploit kit. Here's a phishing site. Let's see if this site still works. It's kind of old. Okay, so yes. There goes Bitdefender. Yeah, I don't know if this one's still good or not. Maybe that might be one that it passed, that it bypassed. So you can see that even as good as this device is, that's why you need multiple layers of security. You know, I had to bypass 2 different things before I was even able to get to the website, which is why I use so many different things. Let's try this one here. This is another exe. So yeah, this is, you can see, generic. I wish I had some good phishing sites or something. That way you could at least see something. There's a PayPal phishing site. Let's see if this one works. Yeah, Bitdefender blocked in. It's broken. But yeah, you guys get the idea. I don't want to keep, you know, searching around and around and around looking for different things, because most of these things are very old, real old in that case, and they're probably not working anymore. Yeah, you can see Bitdefender. Yeah, you can see page 404 not open. But anyway, you get the idea. So yeah, this was a very quick introduction, and shows the, you know, the power of this Sophos UTM. You have to be a fairly advanced user to use it and understand it and set it up. You have to do a lot of troubleshooting, but I believe that once you get it up and running, it's invaluable to have, especially if you consider yourself a geek and, you know, you have tons of devices on your home network. And the great thing about this is that it also protects every mobile device when they're on your home network. So think about Apple and things like that. If you were to go to one of those websites that was blocked by the UTM on an Apple device, you can't install an antivirus or anything on an Apple device, but it still would have been blocked because it has nothing to do with the device that's accessing it. It is doing the filtering for you. So I think that's about it. This is passively cooled. Like I said before, it gets a little warm to the touch. I haven't noticed any speed issues. I still get my full um, download speed and upload speed. So, which is one of the reasons why I got a quad core and which is why I picked this one, and 4 gigs of RAM. The hard drive speed doesn't really matter because the program mostly lives in RAM. The hard drive is there mostly for logs and things like that. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video that I haven't made one in forever. Hopefully, I'll be making some a little more often, especially now that winter's coming and I'm not outside doing yard work or, going on the boat or whatever I've been doing over the summer. So everybody take care. Let me know what you think, and we'll talk to everybody next time.